Right, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News. My name is Elton Brobis. A while ago, we brought you that live telecast from the High Court premises where Rishi Japa was undergoing cross-examination by the Attorney General Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. We'll take you back to the court when they are done for reactions from today's proceedings. But this afternoon, the Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Zigilu, affordable, safe sanitation for all. And we are live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 125. You can as well follow us on our social media handles, YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitter, and of course, myjoyonline.com for these and more. Now, this afternoon, we have a conversation with the General Secretary of the NPP. As Ghana approaches the 2024 general elections, the New Patriotic Party faces a significant challenge, determined to break the 8th and secure a 3rd consecutive term in office. The party is navigating through a landscape marked by economic hardship and some public discontent amid high inflation, unemployment, and concerns over economic mismanagement as alleged by their opponents. The NPP is pushing forward with this campaign, promising to address these pressing issues and lead the nation towards stability and growth. But can they convince the electorates to give them another 4-year mandate? This afternoon, we delve into the strategies the NPP is employing to maintain its grip on power, the key economic challenges they face, and what this means for the future of Ghana. My guest, of course, is the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodi-Afrimpong. He joins me in the studio, and we're going to have a conversation that will look at other areas, party going into 2024, and of course, your concerns. You can get interactive with us, send us your comments, your questions via our social media, X, and of course, YouTube handles. Justin, you're welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
And since we became General Secretary, it's my first time having to speak to you.
Yes, rightly so. It is good to be here.
Right. So,
looking great.
Same to you. So, breaking the 8, is it still on course?
Good afternoon to you, yes. And definitely, yes, it is on course. It is really on course. And as a party, taking a cue from how we conducted our internal presidential primaries, which was by and large very successful, and also conducting our parliamentary primaries also. So all is set, and as you are aware, our flag bearer kickstart his campaign by doing his lecture at UPSA, and afterwards also he has toured the 16 regions to one, announce his presence and also to share his vision with some key stakeholders in the respective regions.
And you say that the feedback has been good from the tour of the 16 regions.
Yes, exceptionally good. Exceptionally, very, very, very good. And looking at the caliber of people that he engaged during his tour of the 16 regions, and for every region that he went to, he met with the clergy and also met with Nananom, the traditional House of Chiefs, and also engaged the various identifiable groups from various aspects, dressmakers, tailors, and mechanics, and also had a special engagement with the various youth in the regions that he went. And even as General Secretary, in some of the discussions that I joined, listening to his vision as he was espousing it, and also telling Ghanaians where we came from in 2016 and the successes that we chalked in our first term, and even the challenges that we have also gone through and still in as a country, and how we are coming out of it, and the vision for the next government that is under his government. It tells me that Dr. Mahama Bawumia is a special breed. By God's grace, when he becomes the president of Ghana, we can only tell of positive things that will happen in our country. And the responses from the various key stakeholders that he engaged, in fact, gives me a clear indication that they have bought into his message. And definitely in December 7th, we will see.
There will be something different. And I guess you are referring to the identifiable groups that he met. I remember 2 weeks ago, the NDC General Secretary was in the same studio, and he says that you are copying their campaign strategy because meeting identifiable groups, stakeholders, is something that the NDC has been noted for, and you appears to be copying their campaign strategy.
That's a very preposterous statement from my friend. And the bottom line is, they are all voters. And in one way or the other, you have to engage voters. So I don't know how they engaging with some group and also us engaging with another group means we are copying. We are not copying. We are all doing campaign. And at the end of the day, everywhere that we go, they will also go there. We have certain constituencies that we have visited that their presidential candidate is here to visit. Okay. So it doesn't mean that when he goes there too, it means he's also copying us. So I believe that this thing is something that we should not even encourage. It's part of politics. Everyone has a right to move the length and breadth of this country to engage our voters on December 7th. We'll
come back to some of the issues that he raised when he was in our studio, but let's focus a bit on Dr. Bawumia. I mean, in 2008, he was first, nominated as running mate. He ran with President Akufo-Addo in 2008, in 2012, in 2016, in 2020. Now, he will be leading the MPP in the 2024 elections. Some have said that this is just an extension of Akufo-Addo. Bawumia can never be in his own man. How do you respond to these concerns?
Well, it will be a simplistic way of analyzing who Bawumia is. One, even us on this studio, Elton as host of this program, if tomorrow another host comes in, that person may have his own style, his own line of even interviewing panel members. No matter the script that you give to the person, everyone has his own style of addressing issues. Mind you, in 2016, MPP had a flag bearer in the person of His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He had his own vision as to what he wanted to do under his government. Right. Anyone aside President Akufo-Addo comes in as a supporting staff or as a supporting person. It was his idea, his vision, as how he sees things, that we are all following, that we are all supporting. And as Bawumia, as vice president, certainly his duty is to support his president to achieve his vision. Issues in 2016 may differ from issues in 2024. In 2016, crux of our campaign was based on free senior high school. Right. Crux of our campaign was based on infrastructure, expanding our health facilities, creating jobs. All these things were vision that was espoused by our candidate, then Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and also came at a time where Ghana had certain prevailing challenges. We are in the height of power outages, what we refer to as doomsday. At that point in time, nursing teacher training allowance have been cancelled. But currently, issues for December 7th and what Bawumia intends to do is totally different from what Akufo-Addo has done.
Yet we still have power issues.
Oh, but you can tell me it's better now, unless you don't want to admit it, Elton. This is a country whereby for about 4 to 5 years, we went through severe erratic power outages. For the last 7 years, you agree with me that MPP government has been able to keep our lights on. These issues about the power outages started this year, earlier part of January. But as we speak to you now, as I speak to you now, you will also agree with me that things have far improved than it was in January.
And some will say that you didn't really tell us what really was going on.
Oh, the Energy Ministry came out with several releases and communication about what the issues were. At the point, they made us know that it was having some routine maintenance exercise that they needed to undertake. Whatever the issue, but the most important thing, Ghanaians want solution. And I'm happy that things have improved than they existed in January.
But Justin, do you really have the moral right to ask Ghanaians to renew your mandate, especially when in 2016 you made the whole world understand that the mismanagement of the economy was purely on the fact that John Mahama was simply incompetent. Now I'm having to raise 15,000 Ghana cedis to just get $1,000 US. Inflation is high, there is unemployment. So if you look at these indicators and the fact that you presented to us an economic messiah, and some will ask, so is this what the economic messiah can do? the present circumstance that we find ourselves in, what moral right do you have to ask Ghanaians to renew your mandate?
Nothing. One, I will not sit in this studio and pretend that all is well, that all is fresh and rose. Certainly, we are going through some tribulations. Certainly, we are having some challenges as a government, and we wish we have not been confronted with these challenges. But the truth of the matter is, we need to cast our mind back and ask ourselves, how did we get to where we are now? In 2016, when we took over the helms of affairs of this country, Ghanaians know, and their memories will give them recollection that, yes, in 2016, we came in at a time whereby virtually our national health insurance system had collapsed. We came in at a time whereby our national ambulance system had even collapsed. We came in at a time that we're having a 3-month pay policy, whereby teachers will work for 2 years and they will pay just for only 2 months or even just 3 months. We came in on the background that at that point, there was no teacher training allowance. There was public a freeze on employment. We came in at a time that, at that point in time, there was several bureaucracy and high level of corruption in various public sector because due to lack of digitization. As I speak to you now, many of the issues that the reason why they even voted for us, many of them have been addressed. As I speak to you now, you will agree with me that now teachers don't have to work for 2 years and they'll be paid just 3 months' salary. Now BEC students don't have to pay before they are allowed to write their BEC exams. Now students are enjoying free senior high school education. So issues that existed there, the reason why they voted for us, they have been able to address many of these issues. I will agree with you, but there are challenges.
Of course.
And every government from 1992, Rawlings have had a share of challenges and tribulations. President Kufuor also did, Mahama, Mills. But so far as you agree with me that in elections, until maybe there is a third force or that would change the narrative in Ghana, it's either NDC or NPP.
Right.
So obviously, there'll have to be that comparison to check our record as against the record of the NDC. And for us in the NPP, yes, challenges will come, problems will come, but we always solve them.
But the economy is a major issue, and it is one of the issues one of the issues that will influence people's votes. If the indicators we have today should serve as a yardstick to measure the performance of this government, will you say that you have done your best?
Certainly, yes.
In the midst of high inflation, high exchange rate?
Because I don't be looking at how all these issues came up. Between 2017 to 2019, in fact, we inherited an economy that was growing at 3.9%. Elton, between 2017 to 2019, we have moved it from 3.9 to 7%. Again, we came into government whereby we had a decline in agricultural production. When the NDC was leaving office in 2016, agricultural growth was 2.9%. Between 2017 and 2022, it grew to 6%. Around that same time, we had implemented free senior high school. As I speak to you now, in terms of infrastructure, NDC government constructed about 4,800 kilometers of road. We have done 11,600 kilometers of road. In terms of record, our records are much, much, much better and enviable than the NDC. We are in this situation, it's not as a result of mismanagement.
But what?
We all know what we went through. And sometimes, I know, when we talk about the effect of COVID, the effect of Ukraine and Russia war, people tend to think that maybe we are just over making a point on those two.
But you agree that the IMF and the World Bank raised the alarm even before COVID came into existence.
But at that point, what were the indicators? Were things pointing downwards, or were doing well in terms of?
I mean, they served notice of danger that was to come. and then COVID came in.
Yes.
And suddenly COVID and Ukraine became the punching bag.
No, but then that's the reality. Because had it not been COVID, what would have been the discussion? Right? Then you could have said that, okay, during NDC time, during President Mahama's time, when there was no COVID, Ghanaians were in harsh situations. Ghanaians were suffering then. But at the end of the day, at least we have records to show between 2017 to 2020 before COVID. All the indicators were pointing positively towards achieving economic success. So at the end of the day, it is right for us to say, yes, irrespective of the COVID, the Ukraine war, this government is still on its toes. Problems are coming up each and every day, and we're also preferring solutions to them. And I can assure you, on December 7th, when the voter wakes up in the morning, says the Lord's Prayer, or recite the Quran before going to the polling center, the only thing that will go to the person's mind
will be what?
Is between these two political parties. In the next 4 years, which of them should I entrust the running of the economy to? Is it NDC? Is it NPP? And they will sit down and look and cast their mind as to the situation that they were in President John Mahama's time. But yes, and the situation that they are in our time.
But Kodia, don't you think that the voter will probably look at certain factors? For example, the voter will look at the fact that he is made to pay almost 15 cedis for a liter of petrol. The voter will look at the fact that he needs so many cedis to change into dollar. The voter will look at the fact that yesterday electricity and water tariffs went up. The voter will look at these factors and then probably come to the conclusion that in the last, if I should trace my route back 8 years ago, my situation was much better. Why would the voter look at all these indicators and still insist that the MPP are best managers of the economy?
If that is the case, the voter will also look at, in 2008, how much was cost of fuel. You understand? Vis-a-vis 2016. If that's another analogy you want to make, then we can even go as far back as in 1992. We are an emerging economy, and we cannot pretend that we are competing against a currency that even developed countries are even struggling. But at the end of the day, too, the voter will also ask himself or herself that between these two political parties, whom should we trust to govern this country well? And I can tell you, they also understand the fact that between President Mahama and Vice President Bawumia, they all have their records. Vice President Bawumia has never been a president before. But even as Vice President, let's compare him and President Mahama on their record, even as Vice President. And I throw a challenge to you that in the history of this country, if you want to compare all vice presidents that we have had in this country, we'll mention Bawumia's name first. Why? Because we have several things to pinpoint and say that this was done by Bawumia. This was the initiative of Bawumia as a vice president. And I'm not surprised that he's being attacked left, right, center, because to whom much is given, much is also expected. Because he has done so much well that people also expect more from him. And I can assure you, he will deliver.
But so on that score, whether Bawumia can accept a debate from the Mahama camp for us to put the record on the table and then see who is better?
I think on several platforms I've made that point, that His Excellency Bawumia is ready for former President Mahama. And I think it will be the best avenue for Ghanaians to listen to the two leaders, for them to make an informed decision. And I can tell you, His Excellency Bawumia will floor Mahama.
Let's wait for that day. But I know you, as General Secretary, you are privy to a lot of surveys that have been done by some groups. And I know that, last 2 weeks, the issue of whether the NIB undertook some survey that placed Dr. Matipoku Prempeh as a preferred running mate. We'll come to the issue of the running mate. But opinion polls ahead of the elections, and I guess that you've been following some of them. So far, the tide appears to be swinging towards John Dramani Mahama of the NDC. What is your reaction to
this? It's very interesting. And several polls have come up, right? And there's one by Global Info Analytics.
Exactly.
And there's one by Professor Smart Sapon. And other groups have also done their survey. The current one that I have.
That just came in today.
That came in today. I think you have it.
Yes.
Right?
So I can just go through. So according to Global Info Analytics, as at April 2024, John Mahama was leading by 54.3%. Dr. Bawumia in April was at 34.9%. Kwadwo Chematen, 7.5%. The others, 1.0%. Now, today is 2nd July. According to Info Analytics, as at today, 2nd July 2024, John Mahama is at 51.1%, which is 3.2% decrease. Dr. Bawumia is at 38.2%, and this is 3.3% gain. Kwadwo Chematen has also dropped from 7.5 to 5.3%, which is 2.2% decrease. So even though Mahama polling numbers drop as Dr. Bawumia gathers momentum after gaining more than 3%, John Dramani Mahama is still leading, according to Info Analytics.
You know, there's no better poll than December 7 polls. That would give us the real polls of who Ghanaians want to lead in the country. And mind you, I'm happy that Global Info Analytics see that there are changes in terms of what they brought earlier on in April. They pegged former President Mahama at 54.3%. The fact is that NDC went to their Congress to elect former President Mahama in May 2023.
Right.
So between May and November, where we elected His Excellency Bawumia, he had a free field. Right? And at that point, he was moving around the country telling Ghanaians what he would do without even us rebutting him, because we were more focused on our presidential primaries. But the moment that we had a flag bearer in the shape of Dr. Mahama Bawumia, and also started telling Ghanaians what he's bringing on board, what he has achieved as vice president, I'm not surprised that President Mahama, according to the survey, a percentage is coming down. And mind you, we are in what?
We are in July.
In July, first week of July. And to lose 3.2% percentage point from April to July. April to July is how many months?
That's 3 months. 3 months. April, May, June, July.
So in politics, is he peaking or is coming down? And this is the whereby it becomes very interesting. Because we have a candidate who has just started his campaign. He has been able to go around, just touch base in the various regional capitals. He's even yet to do the constituency tour. He has even yet to have a running mate who also starts moving around, who also go around to tell Ghanaians what our record is and what we intend to do as a government in this chapter. So by the time another post comes in maybe September, I will not be surprised that Global Info Analysis will put His Excellency Bawumia ahead.
But if this is anything to go by, the gap between John Mahama and Dr. Bawumia is 13%.
For me,
13% will be difficult to close and overtake.
No.
Looking at the time available, we've just 6 months, if you like, or less than 6 months to go for the elections.
Yeah, so you still have people who
and if it's taken 3 months to just drop him by 3%, and you've got 13% more to close that gap.
So if in 3 months, the person has dropped 3.2%, in another 3 months, the person dropped even 2%, does that make the person a winner?
No, not necessarily.
Yes, so at the end of the day, it has its own dynamics. And in politics, each day counts, right? So for us as New Patriotic Party, for me, if we are able to communicate our record, our achievement, what we have done as a government, where we came in 2016, the state of the economy, in spite of the challenges, even in spite of the challenge that we are going through, our records are far better than this.
But what is your own poll telling you? I mean, we've heard different narrative from the NDC. Dr. Mahama about 2 months ago said that John Mahama will win by 57%. Now, just last month, the General Secretary, the chairman of the party, Johnson Ketia, said he'll win by 52%. I don't know what your own poll is telling you.
I think it's an attempt by them just to deceive their supporters. And it's about setting a stage for them to cause maybe chaos during the election period. Because they know, even friends, when we meet friends from the NDC, at first they have started already sharing their positions. Now when they meet us, this election is going to be tough. Now from sharing position to this election is going to be tough. It should tell you that at least they know it's not going to be an election. For me, I'm going to elections knowing that every election has its own dynamics. Every election is a difficult election. For MPP, we are not underrating these elections. And again, we intend to make record because from 1992 to date, no political party has been able to win elections for 3 consecutive terms. And we intend to break that jinx. So that alone is a clear task. But I can assure you, I will not be surprised come December 7th that Dr. Mahama Bawumia will win the elections one touch.
If we should add Alan Chemantin's votes according to the info analytics to Dr. Bawumia, that would take Dr. Bawumia to 45%. Will you say that Alan is taking away some of your votes?
Well, definitely in elections, every vote counts. Whether it's 1%, whether it's 2%, whether it's 3%. At the end of the day, we must treat every vote as important. And as a party, behind the scenes, there have been several moves, there have been several strategies that we are putting in place to make sure that at least we get a maximum vote as much as possible. So, yes, Alan Chemantin, PNC, CPP, my friend Cheddar, everyone is campaigning to win more votes. And it's our duty to make sure that we also win more votes.
According to Fifi Kwete, again, back to the NDC General Secretary, before we now zoom into the running mate matter, he says the reason why the MPP over the years, you've been consistent in rigging in your stronghold is the fact that you always, during every election, will bribe some of the polling executives of the NDC. The reason why the NDC usually perform poorly in some of your strongholds. And indeed, the former organizer of the party, Akando, says he undertook some survey, and it came to light that some of their polling agents, some of their ward secretaries and party executives at the branch level, when they did the survey, it came to light that they only existed in name, giving credence to the fact that some may have been sponsored to represent themselves as NDC followers, where in actual fact they may be working against the NDC. And Fifi Kwete lays the blame squarely on your doorstep and say that you've been bribing their party folks all these years. The reason why there is so much rigging during elections in your strongholds. How do you respond to this?
So, by extension, can it also be said that they also bribe our agents in their stronghold? That's why they also get high votes. Is that what he's saying? Sometimes when you listen to analysis from my friends from the other side, you just have to laugh. We are talking about your opponent's stronghold. We also have a stronghold. So can we also just simplify it by saying that, okay, then you have also been bribing our agents in your stronghold. For me, it's neither here nor there. Ghanaians go to polls, they vote for political parties that they believe will be able to address their concerns and needs. And for us, whether they are stronghold or our stronghold, we treat all holds the same. And it's our duty to make sure we galvanize more votes. So I don't think it's one of their propagandas that they are just chanting around. And we don't need to give any credence to those things.
Right, folks, my guest this afternoon is the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodu-Afrimpong. If you have any question, you have any comments, I'll have them on our social media handles, and I'll share that with him. Now, let's look at the other matters that is of great importance to a lot of people, and it's about who becomes the running mate to Dr. Bawumia. Yesterday, according to your national organizer, Dr. Bawumia met the national officers of the party where he disclosed to you his choice of a running mate, and that's the Energy Minister, Member of Parliament for Bentia South. Is it the case that at the national officers level, you've already given your backing to this choice?
Well, yes, indeed, it is true that yesterday our leader, flag bearer of our party, came to pay a courtesy call on the National Party. And his message was very simple, that some time ago he came to seek permission for us to give him time to look through and also to consult on who he will pick or nominate as his running mate.
Right.
And he's still in the consultation stage, though definitely we all know that he has someone in mind. But as respectful as he is, he still deems fit that though there's going to be a national council that will approve of the person that he intends to nominate, he still feels that he has to come and see the national officers of our party to inform us about the person he has in mind, so that when it gets to the national council, he will get the needed support. So it is part of our party processes that he has to go through. And yes, he came to mention Dr. Matthew Poku's name to us.
And this meeting, was it to get your approval or just that you are informed?
He's consulting, so it's part of the consultation process. So he came to consult us on it.
And what reason did he give that may have influenced his decision to settle on Dr. Opoku Prempeh?
Well, certainly we have an elections to win, and he needs someone who will be able to complement the work that he's doing, and someone who also shares his ideologies and vision, and someone he can also work closely with. And basically, those are key factors that he mentioned when he met us. And again, for us also, we also feel that at least your running mate, in quote, is more like your partner. Mm-hmm. It should be someone that you are comfortable with, that you can work, someone that you also have so much high level of trust, and someone that you can consult in both good times and in bad times. So for him, that is his preference. And I know on Thursday, when we hold the National Council meeting, he will give us a detailed reason as to why he wants Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh.
And what response did the national officers give him?
Well, for us, some I cannot discuss it here, but at least we said, okay, well, that is your choice. And as a party, we know Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh as national officers. We know the work that he did at the Education Ministry and the good work that he's doing at the Energy Ministry. He's a non-party person, our member of Parliament from Asia South, and we know the good works that we have been doing within the party. In terms of the party hierarchy, he's well known, and we just wish him well on Thursday to hear what the National Council will say. But
is it a normal practice? Because I mean, this is the first time I'm following this, that a flag bearer will do consultations ahead of a National Council meeting, and that's where he disclosed his choice of a running mate. He met President Akufo-Addo last week. He met the majority caucus in Parliament also last week, and he met the national officers. Is this normal? I mean, what we have been privy to is that he would disclose the name at the meeting. Now, there is no, I mean, for want of a better word, the element of surprise is gone because the name is already out there. Yet, it is the National Council duty to listen and say that we approve of it.
You see, in our body politics, you cannot keep anything a secret. Whatever we discuss, it will come out. And when he went to meet President Were there, we were all not there. But it came out that he has gone to meet with President. And again, he met with the leadership of Parliament. And there are several people that he has engaged. For me, it underscores the kind of person Dr. Mahama Bawumia is. He's a team player. He's someone who believes that even if I have an idea, even if I have a suggestion, even if I have preference, let me listen to the views of key stakeholders. And to me, it tells you that he's a leader who listens. He's a leader who believes in team building. He's a leader who likes to consult. Why should he wait for Thursday? Then he will come and engage the National Council. Is at that point that you are expecting people to give their suggestion. These are the suggestion stage. At least if even people have some reservation, if people have some other names they want to mention, at least this is the point for that discussion to be held. At least for him to make his point, key stakeholders to make their point, so that at least, even if I don't agree with his choice, at least the mere fact that the person has consulted me, has listened to my input. And mind you, there are some that he has been able to also convince on why he's settling on Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh. And I think he'll be a fantastic running mate.
So on Thursday, what will happen? Because according to your letter of invitation to the groups that are invited to this meeting, you indicated 2 meetings. First, the National Executive Committee, and then after the Council.
Yeah, so if I to be in 3 phases, it will start with the steering committee, right? And steering committee is a smaller group, right? About 15 of us, just to inform us. As steering committee, you can't take any decision. But after steering committee, it moves to NEC. So you also inform NEC about his decision. At that point, too, we can also take a decision at NEC before it gets to National Council, because the party has structures, and we don't want to bypass those structures and then move straight to National Council. And
the leadership of steering and NEC are also members of the council?
Yes, but National Council is a larger body. Right. So at National Council, that's where the decision will be made. Per our constitution, the National Council that has the power to either approve or disapprove.
You've been a party member for long. Is it the case that, or is there a possibility that the name can be rejected?
Of course, why not? At the end of the day, it's the National Council that has the power to approve. And that's why I love our flag bearer. He understands politics. He understands what he has to do. He knows that I'm going to make a decision, and that decision will be approved by a different body. So in that case, why don't I involve them? Why don't I consult them to listen to their views, to get their input, so that at the end of the day, it will sail through successfully? And that is what a good politician does.
And some will say that all this consultation is just lobbying, so that when he's put on the floor, he knows that I have the backing of all these organs, and that I don't expect my choice to be rejected.
Lobbying is part of politics. And a good leader lobbies. You don't want surprises. That's why you need to lobby.
So therefore, if council can take a decision against the choice of the flag bearer, then there's no finality to the name that is already in the public domain.
Oh, yes. So at the end of the day, yes, it's the National Council that's going to make that decision. So that's why we are always very circumspect in discussing as to whether it's a done deal. It's not a done deal. At the end of the day, it's the National Council that has to stamp its authority one day to say, yes, we have agreed or we approve of the name that you have chosen.
And are you also mindful of comments that have come up so far since Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh's name became so pronounced relating to the matter of the running mate? Your own member of parliament in Ashanti region, Andy Apiakubi, this morning we were told that some group marched to your Asokwa constituency office and presented a petition to the party saying that they are against the choice of Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh. Are you also listening to these voices in terms of coming to a finality on this matter?
I would have been surprised if everyone would have accepted the name without people having opposing views. That's a beauty of politics. You need to be suicidal on a part that you mention a name and you don't hear any negative feedbacks. At least it tells you that we are humans and nobody is perfect. We all have our strengths, we all have our shortcomings and our weakness. So at the end of the day, whatever concerns that issue that people have is welcome. We will look at those concerns and see whether genuinely they are major concerns or major issues. At the end of the day, that's the person qualified to become a running mate, the details of our constitution. If that's the most important step that we need to look at.
Right.
Once that's established, it's fine. And the next level is, can the person help us to win the elections in December 7th? And that's another factor that we also need to also look at as a party. People may have their own personal issues. That is not everybody who likes you.
Of course.
Right? People may see you, without even talking to you, they may dislike you. That is their position. And you can't force them to like you. But at the end of the day, we have to weigh the pros and cons. We have to weigh the advantage and disadvantage to see, if you compare, which one outweighs the other. And for me, once the advantage and the pros outweighs the cons, then that's what we should also look at as a political party.
And finally, on this subject, if Napo is chosen on Thursday, what would then happen to the Menchia South? Because you've had your parliamentary primaries there, he's a parliamentary candidate. What then happens going forward?
It means we have to open for another.
It will not automatically fall to the second position.
No, we have to open for people who are interested to contest. So that's what becomes of it.
Okay. Some other issues that, I mean, on several platforms, you've had calls to speak directly to government appointees, and you've made a point clear that if you are tired, step aside and allow those who are very desirous of seeing the party through its mandate to be at the helm of affairs. Now, you've got 6 months to end the term. You've got, parliamentary MPs who've lost and they are no longer coming back. Last week, for example, the House had difficulty even forming a quorum, even though the MPP has 137 plus 138. Quorum is 1/3, which means that even you have the numbers to form the quorum. Even if you want to take major decision on the floor, you have more than half of MPs. Yet you struggled the whole of last week to have MPs even to be present in the chamber. At some point, the NDC had more numbers even than the MPP. What is the discussion around this to get people to put in their maximum, even as the term is nearing expiration?
Yes, I think I made that point at the last year, end of year Christmas engagement with the rank and file of the party.
Right.
And the reason why I made that point was very simple. That as a political party, Ghanaians have given us a mandate, and it's based on our ability to perform that mandate, and will prepare them to renew our lances, for want of better words. And in that same vein, all of us need to be on the same page, that we have elections to win and we must deliver. So it was a questioning statement that I made to all government appointees that, look, we need to perform. We don't have any room for excuses. And at the end of the day, the party will be judged by how we are able to achieve the targets that we set for ourselves. So, and I'm happy that after that call to also, things have really improved, and people also agree with me that yes, we need to do more to make sure that at least Ghanaians renew our mandate. But so far, I must say we are doing very well. Our appointees are up to the task, and President also did some reshuffle, and which in a way has also re-energized the base of our party, and also put certain appointees on their toes that, look, you need to perform. And I think it was a good call.
What about the MPs who are going out and the attenders? I mean, the majority leader, he's made it clear that they need the numbers to pass certain vital bills, including even tax waivers that you are granting to companies that qualify for the waiver. You have a media review to present on the floor. Even though the time may be coming to an end, there are still government business must still go on.
Elton, you see, it's a difficult period that we find ourselves in. And it happens to both sides, NDC and MPP. When a person goes to elections and loses in the primary and still a member of parliament, and getting up to go to parliament knowing that in the next parliament
you will not be coming.
You will not be there. You will not be there. It takes so much courage to even psych yourself up and to even go to parliament. And it's something that the party behind the scenes is working on, to encourage them, to let them know that they are part and parcel of their party, and they must do their best to make sure that at least we see government business through. It reminds me of a point. And the reason why I strongly believe that Ghanaians will vote for Dr. Mahama Bawumia, but not former President John Mahama, is simply for a fact that there is a saying that for every politician, if you want to hold him accountable, make sure that he comes to you again. Make sure that he's going for another election. You see, between Dr. Bawumia and Mr. Mahama, Ghanaians are confronted with two choices. If I with one choice, but two options. The first one is that we have a candidate who can be president for just 4 years.
But it wouldn't be the end of the NDC.
No, it's President Mahama who is going to be on the ballot. Right? For just 4 years. So in 4 years, Elton, the question that I'm asking myself, so on what basis, what are you going to hold him How do we make him accountable? Because after 4 years, he's gone. He's not there as president.
But somebody will have, the party will have to bring on some, just like happened in 2020 when Akufo-Addo is leaving, somebody is taking over.
But at the end of the day, Akufo-Addo's service is 8 years.
I get you on that point.
Right? Whatever vision he wanted to achieve, he had. But 4 years, Elton, and also based on certain pronouncement by Mr. John Mahama, which has not even helped, asking for honeymoon, right? Telling Ghanaians that he cannot, allegedly, based on the mess that the NPP has created, he can't solve it in 4 years. So in 4 years, if we can't solve these problems in 4 years, the question I ask myself is, what is he coming to do? The best yardstick or the best way to also to measure him is what he did as president. This is a person, even when he was going for re-elections, could look in the eyes of Ghanaians and tell them that, look, I've developed a debt gold syndrome. I know people will go on strike, people will go on demonstration. But you've heard it before, and there's nothing I can do. This is a person who will look in the eyes of Ghanaians and tell them that, look, you are suffering doom so because many people have bought mobile phones. This is a person who will tell Ghanaians that he has cancelled nursing training allowances. And even if it will cost his elections, he's prepared to do it. This is a person who said that he does not believe in free senior higher education, and we should not rely on the whims and caprices of a political party that is desperate. So in the midst of all these things, knowing that he was going for re-elections, yet he said these things. How much more when he has just 4 years, he's not going to go for re-elections? As against Dr. Mahama Bawumia, who has chance of coming back to Ghanaians after the next 4 years. For Ghanaians to look and measure him, that when we gave you government or governance from 2025 to 2028, were you able to perform? And based on that, we are going to judge you. At least there's high motivation on the part of Dr. Mahama Bawumia to perform, because knowing very well that he will come to Ghana. Lastly, do you know what is going to happen?
Tell me.
In the remote possibility that Mr. John Mahama becomes president, because he's not going for re-election, it means that his appointees, his ministers, right from day one, will be competing among themselves to succeed him from 2025. Then it means the government itself from day one will lose focus. Because when you have ministers, instead of focusing on their role as ministers, they will be focusing on how to succeed you. Is that something the country wants to put ourselves in? Is that the situation we want to put ourselves in? Let's put NDC and PP aside. Maybe perhaps if NDC had brought a different candidate, the discussion would have been different.
Right.
But for 4 years, you want to give this country to a person who is not going for re-election. You can't hold him accountable when his records are so porous and so bad.
Before we end, few comments here. Let me run them through. Most of them you've already answered. Asante Daniel says, my question is, the exchange rate will expose you when the fundamentals are bad. Based on that scenario, are the fundamentals better today? Mushu Francis says, if the MPP really wants to break the 8, then Napo's selection should be, there should be a second look at that. And then Citizen Thomas says, Dr. Napo is our surest bet to come 2024 general election. Ebenezer says, Napo is the best. Don't fear, Ijiabo, matured submission, no propaganda. As our opponent, Sherry says, please ask JFK what the party is doing to settle the differences between members of parliament and supporters who are opposed to the choice of Napo. That has also been answered. Richard says, display of wisdom. Okay, so many comments. We are wrapping up. So what do we expect of the Electoral Commission? The NDC appears to be convinced that you are in bed with the Electoral Commission ahead of election. And I guess that appears to be the sing-song when you are in opposition, because you've also done the same when the MPP was in opposition, when you had a lot of issues with the shall also say led Electoral Commission.
You see, the difference between MPP in opposition and NDC in opposition is that in MPP in opposition, you offer alternatives and suggestions. From 1992, anytime we criticize the Electoral Commission, we prefer solutions.
Right.
In 1992, when we were voting the opaque ballot boxes, we brought the proposal to have a transparent ballot box. when we didn't have picture ID cards. We made that proposal for us to get picture ID card. When we didn't have biometric, we made that proposal. NDC should tell us what proposal they have brought on board since 1992. It's not a question of just criticizing the Electoral Commission. At least criticize constructively, give alternative. That helps to shape the development of this country. And I'm surprised that the NDC of all people, of all political parties, will complain about the Electoral Commission. When the former President Mahama said we should allow the Electoral Commission as an independent body to do their work. So what has changed? It's not the same.
Because we appear to be satisfied with every step taken by the Electoral Commission.
No. We go to IPAC when we have our issues. We make it known at IPAC. That is why IPAC is there. It's not a question of just coming out, at least trying to win public sympathy, trying to preempt and trying to incite the public against the Electoral Commission. Mind you, can you tell me that all the officers in the Electoral Commission are NPP sympathizers?
It can't be possible.
It can't be possible.
But,
These are people...
but they make the claim that this lecturer at University of Natural Resources in Sunyani was recently appointed as a commissioner. It's a known MPP person. Dr. Tuahima.
Well, that is their point. But then the person is a Ghanaian. Does the person qualify or not?
It raises the issue of transparency and
neutrality. They are making those allegations. But this is not the first time we have had the government appointing commissioners to the Electoral Commission. Dr. Afraijan was appointed by the NDC government, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Wallace, right? But in 2000 elections, they lost. Was Dr. Afraijan able to save the NDC? In 2008, Dr. Afraijan was there. We lost the elections. Madame Charlotte was appointed by the former President John Mahama. Could he save them in 2016 when he lost miserable close to about 1 million votes? At the end of the day, I don't see the argument. Because elections are won at the polling station. And at the polling station, you have your agents there. After the close of poll, you all count, you all sign. At that point, it is moved to the Constituency Coalition Center. So if you have an effective coalition system, even before the Electoral Commission declares the results, you know what you've got. So where lies the argument? I don't understand. Are results counted at the Electoral Commission headquarters? No, you have to tell me. No. Are results counted there? No. So it's a party that is telling us that they have a weak coalition system. That's why they are always complaining. No wonder in 2020, when they lost, they told their supporters that they have won. They went to court only for the then General Secretary, my big brother, Sidi Kecha, to tell them that, they just said that to incite their supporters, to make them happy. In fact, to excite them, and that they didn't have any evidence to challenge the electoral results in court. So this is a party that lacks credibility when it comes to electoral matters. So please, they should focus on their campaign. And they know they are losing because the NPP party, we have started picking up. And now we are putting our strategies in place. And they have become so jittery and worried. Now they are attacking the Electoral Commission, they are attacking the police, they are attacking the judicial service also. What is happening? It's a sign of desperation from the NDC.
Is Damboche still the campaign manager for the Bawumia? We've heard rumors that he's resigned.
No, I don't know where it came from. Even this morning I spoke with him. He's the campaign chairman for our party. And I don't know whether it's coming from the opponent or from people who just want to cause distraction in what we are doing. But he still remains our campaign chairman.
And is everything okay within the campaign community?
Everything is well.
And finally, is your office inundated with, of course, lobbying you for positions in the future NPP administration?
So I'm not the president. I won't be the president.
Well, the NDC General Secretary says that people have already started sharing. I don't know whether the MPP also started sharing the positions for MPP, in 2025.
Our main focus is to convince Ghanaians, and that's what we have been doing, to assure them that yes, we share with you that times are hard. We share with you that we are going through difficulties. We are not running away from them, but they should continue to have faith with us that we will solve our issues, and we still remain the better alternative to addressing our challenges in this country. Thank you so much for coming to. Justin Koduya-Frimpong is the General Secretary of the MPP, and of course, you heard him say all the things that he had to say. We'll take a short break. When we return, Clocksack, they've declared an indefinite strike. We'll take you to the court, and of course, you have other compelling stories coming your way here on The Pulse. With me, Elton Robert. See you right there. We shall be back.